I thought I'd mix up the scenery a bit. And also what I'm doing is a bit different than usual. Instead of painting or going to a museum, I am trying to make some cinematic shots out in a place I don't live. And secondly, I know there is some nice shots I can get out on the water, nice skylines, and I'm challenging myself today. I'm using only a biotar 58mm f2, so hopefully I can get some nice portraits or kind of cinematic shots and make an interesting edit. I go through phases of things, and maybe I'll have an editing phase, and I'll have a cinematography phase, or a lighting phase, or a calisthenics phase, or whatever. But for the most part, it's nice to get back out into practicing like cinematography, even if it's myself as the model. It's a good feeling. So definitely feel like my technique for skills is, I think it's called, I mean I call it the looping technique, but I just loop around old skills because you get kind of a phase where when you start something, you're very enthusiastic, you learn fast, and then eventually that kind of tapers down to a plateau where you don't learn that much more, and then eventually you're kind of stagnant. So for me, I like to pick up new skills or rotate older skills that I plateaued with when I plateau with the newer one. And I often find that in the fields that I'm kind of interested in, for the most part, the skills are interchangeable. There's still a bit of lag here and there. Like I've got a major obsession with probability and game theory and things like that. I'm busy reading now, super forecasting. It's very interesting. It echoes a lot of what the other top thinkers in the space say, but it's just always interesting to get other takes on it. But for the most part, that is the one obsession or skill that I rotate, that's in permanent rotation, that I don't have much use for, other than just speculating on the future, which, it's fun at times. It's a nice pastime. Another book I finished since my last video where I mentioned a book was a biography of Stanley Kubrick. And I'm sure there's a lot of kind of controversy and conspiracies around the life of Stanley Kubrick, but for the most part, I found him very interesting. I actually lived my first proper job, which wasn't even a proper job, was close to where he worked when he was in London. So that was a nice coincidence. But what I found interesting was his style of directing. And for the most part, the similarities that I have with a lot of the people. I think whether it's a famous person or an ordinary person, you'll always find a lot of similarities with the person, but we kind of like to divide each other up. For him, that strategic, I find it, linking back to what I said earlier, me having no kind of use for my strategic thinking. Well, on a personal level, somewhat on a professional level, because I'm out here practicing to get better, because I'm slowly getting new clients with the commercial work that I do. But the way he incorporated, the Hollywood news propaganda media machine into his stories, into his scripts, into his movie making. Amazing chess player. And how he incorporated that strategic thinking into the whole process as well is something I found very intriguing. Me being a poker player, which he was as well, and how you utilize what would be normally be considered as a benign kind of degenerate skill that can turn out to be such a useful thing, when applied properly.